Hi guys, so they've cash boosted Salt for the next meta competition, and in my opinion I will not be doing a cash rush with Salt, and let me explain to you why. So firstly, they've cash boosted Salt from 2.2k to 3.5k. I'll put a link in the description if you really want to stick with the Salt rush, what you could do to improve it. So if you want to get to that, just use the link in the description to skip to that part. For me, however, if you were to look at this example, the setup to get your Salt rush going properly, it takes a lot of space because your windmills need space. They need space so you don't need or run into a timer problem where you get a time penalty because they're too close together. So 7 windmills in this example took up quite a bit of space, and if you look at the space required for milk, you will note that this is a lot less space. So in this example I've set up 7 windmills with 10 milk barns. These 7 windmills with 25 salt fields will cost you around 83k to set up, whereas barns will cost you 300k setup. So yes, the initial setup will cost you more and might even take a little bit longer for your milk barns to set up. However, once set up, you've got to think the Salt will give you approximately 662 per hour in this example, which gets to $917k and 4,192 stars, whereas the milk barns will give you 244 milk with 967,000 and 4,880 stars. Basically it boils down to milk barns will give you 59k more money and 688 more stars, and that for me is a major difference. That 688 more stars, especially in the beginning, makes a huge difference because you're not falling behind as much as you would be with Salt. The 59k more makes up that 300k that you had to spend extra quite quickly, so that in my opinion is not a problem, as you will be running your rush quite a few hours. It's not going to be just 1 hour then you're done with your rush. So that is definitely in my opinion the better method to go. The other thing also is your water setup will be basically the same. The salt fields and milk barns require the same amount of water. I've tested this with the same workload or labor for ATVs and 4 tractors, so that cost will be the same as well. Now you can expand your windmills maybe by 2 or 3 more, but you can't expand it into the shade area of your mountain, which is another penalty towards your windmills. So that is one of the big drawbacks, I think. Whereas with milk barns you can expand a lot more. You can go to 20 milk barns quite easily and double your income fairly quickly, which will result getting to the final build faster in my opinion. So that is just my opinion. I'd rather go for the milk barn rush and take it from there, especially if you've got a wheat stand. That will help even more, but other than that I just feel the milk barns will be a better option. Now let's get to, if you really want to stick with Salt, what you could do to improve your income there. So if you're adamant you want to do the Salt rush or a portion of that, I would suggest adding chickens in between your windmills. And the reason I suggest that is you've got a lot of areas where you can add meadows, and chicken requires only 1 water, so supplying them with the required amount of water is fairly easy. So whatever your layout is, so don't worry about my windmill layout, as this is not 100% optimal. However, it does show you that adding chickens in between makes for an extra boost of your income, and that helps a lot. You can't really use this space from here, as that is your only place basically where you can plant trees. So your windmills as is already is casting shade on these, so you've got limited space for your trees to grow. So yeah, that's just my little tip for you to actually utilize that space. Put some chickens in there and let the chickens go. The chickens doesn't cast shade, it doesn't affect your windmills. Milk barns does, they cast shade, they will affect your windmills and so forth. So you can't do milk barns, but chickens is very easy to do that. The reason I won't suggest wool or sheep pens is they need 5 waters, so providing water for them is a little bit of a mission then. So yeah, that's just my 2 cents. I hope you find it helpful, and good luck whatever you decide to do. I would say just do your normal rush as is. If you're used to doing wool rush, I would even stick with that. That's just my opinion. Good luck with the competition, guys, and see you on the other side.